In sales, there's this concept we want to sell value, value-based selling, however you want to say it. Of course, in order to sell value, we have to be able to define value. Value is a moving target, both objective value in a given situation and subjective value. People's opinions or beliefs, their sense of chemistry relationship. So what we found to be particularly helpful is to have a process or a line of inquiry that with person after person or with group of people, you have a consistent way of helping people define value in a way that makes sense to them. And it goes something like this. There are kind of 5 components, and 95, we never have more than 5. You can count them on one hand. First thing is what we call a list of issues, meaning a given solution has to solve something, solve some problem they care about, or produce some result that they highly value. Problem or result, we'll just use the word issue, and often there's more than one. But we don't want to leave value on the table. So we like to get out all the value drivers, if you will, all the issues. Make sure that list is complete. We know if it's complete, we say, well, if you got these and nothing else, would that be a solution that exactly met your needs? Kind of just shut up and listen. They might, well, actually, there's one more thing. Or actually, yeah, why don't you put this on the list too? So we want a complete list and make sure it's complete between them and us. We may have some ideas as well. So what is the list of problems or results, the value drivers, the issues? Second thing we want is what we call evidence. How does it show up, if you will, today? How does it show up as a problem today? How would it show up as a result tomorrow? How would you measure success? How would you declare victory? How would you know it was solved? So we got a list of issues. We want to find out of those list of issues which one's really most important. Not all issues are created equally. So which is most important? And for that top 1 or 2, how does it show up as evidence today? How would it show up as evidence as a result tomorrow? And then just showing up's not enough. People only do something. They only make movements. They only invest time, people, and money if the impact is big. So impact is kind of the bottom line. How much does it cost you today to have that problem? Or if you got that benefit tomorrow, what would be the bottom line impact? So we've got issues, we got evidence, we got impact, and everything fits in a system. Often we're talking to one person or one department. It doesn't exist in isolation, so we want to know a context. Context, who or what else is affected either by these issues or by the implementation, of the solution. Because if we're going to find a solution that exactly meets the needs of this company, there's going to be multiple people involved. And the last thing that would be helpful to understand is what we call constraints. If the impact of this is so big or so valuable, what's been stopping the organization from effectively resolving these issues on their own? So it kind of goes something like this. We got issues, evidence, impact, context, and constraints. So a conversation may go like this. We have to move off the solution. So if they say, hey, what could you tell me about? What could you do on? We say, well, we'd be glad to help you. Every situation is unique. What kinds of problems or results are you hoping this solution will address? We kind of patiently listen, make sure the list is complete between them and us. We say, well, of all those, which one is most important? So, well, let's talk about that in a little more depth. How's it showing up today as a problem? How do you know it's a problem? When it does show up, what's the impact? How would you know you were successful tomorrow? How would you measure success? And if you got that success, what's the payoff? What's the benefit to you? And who or what else is affected either by these issues or the implementation of the solution? And by the way, if the impact here is fairly big, fairly substantial, what stopped you or prevented you as an organization from effectively dealing with this on your own? So this is what we call a structured opportunity conversation. Issues, evidence, impact, context, and constraints. And the rule is, it doesn't always have to happen in that order. The rule is start anywhere, go everywhere. And at the end of it, you should understand what they value most and how much they value it.